Hey folks, my name is Chris, and this is my channel, Pros and Cons. Every once in a while, it's kind of fun to just bust out the art tools and do a live stream. Just draw, mostly ink, to be honest, while I talk with the chat room. And today is Godzilla Day. Hashtag Godzilla. 69th anniversary of the Big G. I love giant monsters. I especially love Godzilla. I thought it would be fun today to draw some stuff from him. I was pulling out one of my favorite characters. This is Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar, not the most beloved character in the Godzilla movies. For some reason, I love his goofiness. He's a big robot that eventually teams up with Godzilla to fight Megalon and Gigan. A kid designed this and won a contest to have his character turned into an actual like movie character. So I've sketched out a Jet Jaguar fighting a Gigan, and that's what I'm going to work on inking today. Bear with me as I move some stuff around and let some folks jump into the live chat. But I hope you're having a nice Friday. I hope it is a fun day for you. As I say, today is Godzilla Day. Let me just move over a few other things that I had been drawing before. I think I'm just going to primarily focus on using pens. Okay, we have a guest star. Hello. I believe that's my cat, Jack, who's decided that he will start out our show as our guest. You going to walk over some of Dad's art? Thanks. Why don't you say hello to the guests? Oh, good. We've got somebody that likes Jet Jaguar and Gigan. I'm glad to hear that much. Thank you. Excuse me, that's my art that you're walking on. Rawr. I'm going to grab you. Kitty doesn't want to be grabbed. Wants to explore. But this is Jack, one of my babies, and he's bored. So he wants to climb around on my stuff because he knows that'll get him attention. You okay? Why don't you go play with your sister? Go play with your sister. Anyway, cool. Daw says, been in a Godzilla mood lately. Hello also to Moritaka Ishada. Yes, Gojira. So let me add a camera here. And I think if I can just shift a few things around, I think I can have a nice setup to begin inking. Just test something out here. I've got a brush pen, and I want to see what condition it's in before I start actually using it. All right, kind of thick, but that could actually work to my favor. I'm going to take my glasses off because I see better up close without it. And we're going to get you started on trying to use this brush pen to my advantage by adding a bunch of texture to Gigan, because I want him to have sort of a real organic meatiness, kind of like reminiscent of H.R. Giger's Alien designs or something. That's what I want to do for this Gigan. Give him a little bit of personality with some texture. So that's mostly what I'm going to focus on to start the show off. But every once in a while, I'll pop my head up, see if there's any good questions in the chat room. And actually, I'm going to move this mic closer to me. That might have improved the audio slightly. We shall see. Hopefully it does. I want you guys to be able to hear. Let's see. I've been reading Spy Family today, so it's been a good day. Anya and Yor have stolen my heart. They're adorable, and Lloyd is such a badass. I love Spy Family. I think it's hilarious. I think it moves at a good clip. Great characters. Hello, Philip. Thank you for jumping in. This will be fun. Anybody out there fan of Godzilla? I definitely am. I'm very excited for... The thing I'm most excited for with Godzilla is definitely Godzilla -1, the upcoming movie that I believe came out today over in Japan. Doesn't come out here in America until December 1st, I want to say. But I will be seeing it, especially if I can find an early screening. That would be fun. And then what else is coming up for Godzilla stuff? We've got an Apple Plus TV show based on the American Monsterverse stuff. That could be fun. I hope. Yeah, the American stuff has been a little hit and miss for me, but it looks good. And I do like Kurt Russell a lot. The idea of having him and his son Wyatt play the same character, basically a generation apart, is, I think, a decent idea for taking advantage of two actors that definitely look very similar. Could be a lot of fun. We've got 11 whole people here. Well, this is what happens when I do a live stream during normal work hours in the US. I do understand that. Hopefully, some folks are able to check this out later and enjoy, even if it's after Godzilla Day. But I definitely want to use a lot of black on this Gigan. It's really important to me that he gets just swathed in black. I'm no Mike Mignola. I'm not that good at figuring out shadows and being brave, but hopefully something somewhat approximating that. That's what I've got in the back of my head for how much black I want to drop into this version of Gigan. And I've primarily based my Gigan here off the look that he had. If you're curious, this is really getting nerdy, I know, on the look he had in Godzilla Final Wars, which is a very over-the-top Godzilla movie. I happen to like it. It is just wall-to-wall action, Godzilla fighting tons of monsters. A lot of fun. Does not have Jet Jaguar in it. To my knowledge, Jet Jaguar was only in the Gigan Megalon movie. Oh, great question here. I have seen 2 episodes so far of Pluto on Netflix. I really like it. Now, I am biased. I am a huge fan of Naoki Urasawa. Pluto is just a fantastic manga. Strongly recommended. I think this is a good adaptation. Very loyal to its source material. So it has a good mystery. It has some incredible character work. It has some great world building. And of course, we should give credit to Osamu Tezuka sensei because it is an updated, sort of modernized take on a famous Astro Boy story. Greatest Robot in the World, I believe it was called, if I'm remembering right, which is also a very good Astro Boy story. And I've made episodes on my Comic Tropes show about both Pluto and Astro Boy, about that story. So yeah, drawing shaping up to be real nice. I hope so. Thank you for jumping in, Billis. Thank you for the kind words. Let's see. Some Nuff Said comic issues came in the mail today. Trying to collect all the silent issues. I was just about to say, wasn't Nuff Said their silent month that Marvel ran? Yeah, silent issues are interesting. There's actually a lot of wordless comics out there. I was looking that up somewhat recently just to see exactly how much history there was to wordless comics. There's a lot. One of the famous manga is Gon, which is about like a small but strong dinosaur. Kind of looks like a chibi T-Rex. One of the first wordless comics I ever came across was G.I. Joe issue 21, which was both written and illustrated by Larry Hama, who decided to do that because the book was starting to run a little late, and so he scripted a story that would not need dialogue, and he just drew it himself because he knew he could bang it out kind of quickly. Helped catch up on that. That was a really interesting piece of history. Let's see. This is Donpe, which might translate to dope. Thank you very much, Rooster. Yeah. Oh, I got it. Hello, Jack. Yes, Jack was here briefly, knocked over some of my art, vanished. That is the Jack way. Make a mess, leave before there's any accountability. That is definitely my cat for you. I've opted, and I hope it's the right decision, but I've opted to illustrate Jet Jaguar very sleek, not very bulky. So that's just a small choice that I made when I was going to illustrate this. Small choice. It's pretty much accurate to how you always see him, but yeah, so that's a choice. But I'm having a little trouble getting my line weights to make sense. We'll see. Keep working on it. Appreciate the company, folks. Do you have a favorite gigantic monster movie? I'll open it up beyond just Godzilla. You know, there's Gamera, there's Pacific Rim. I think there was a movie Colossal. There's all sorts of movies. Cloverfield. All sorts of movies with gigantic monsters. Do you have one that you really like? I really like giant monster movies. I really like King Kong. I think I like King Kong. No, I like Godzilla more, but I like King Kong a lot. Let's see. Do your cats watch Tom and Jerry? No, to my knowledge, they do not. Unless they're turning it on when I'm not looking. Is this image going to be for some purpose, or were you just feeling the tokusatsu vibe? I just felt like drawing. Today is Godzilla Day, so I just started sketching something. I was happy with it. I was like, time to turn this into a live stream. Yeah. Just asking because you just did a cover for someone's Transformers. Yeah, that was for a friend who was kind to me, and he had it, and he was like, I would like to see you draw on it. And I was like, okay, this is my first time drawing on a cover. Don't ruin it. Just don't ruin it. Yeah, I think Iron Giant could count. It's not necessarily a horror, scary movie, but you're right. That is a gigantic, sort of a monster. I mean, he's treated as a monster, isn't he? Queen Kong? Was Queen Kong a movie? I'll be honest, I don't think I know that one. But that's entirely possible that there was a Queen Kong. Because I mean, I remember in the 80s there was that there was King Kong, like a remake, and then something like Kong Returns, where the scientists spend like the entire movie reviving King Kong, only for him to go cuckoo. There are cute videos on YouTube about cats watching Tom and Jerry. That's interesting. Okay, people telling me that is a real movie. A terrible 1970s spoof movie from England. Got it. A silly movie. I've never seen that one, as you can probably guess, since I was like, is that real? Huh. How about that? Ay. Does that mean I have to watch it just because I love being as informed as possible about this stuff? I don't know. Doesn't sound like it's one that people are necessarily recommending to me. Interesting. Hello, Istanbul from the United States. Thanks for jumping on. It's kind of you. Istanbul, massive city. Massive city. Love to visit it someday. My friend Jeff went there once for like a business trip. He said he had good food. The 70s sounds like a weird time. Probably every time starts to seem weirder the further away from it we get, right? Godzilla is awesome, though. It can work as just bonkers entertainment, but it can also definitely work very well as a metaphor, in my opinion, for issues we're afraid of. The first Godzilla functions very well as an embodiment of the fears of nuclear power. Very, very well. Not heavy-handed. Like, I think it legit works very, very well. One of my favorite Godzilla movies was a more recent one, Shin Godzilla, which works very well as a fear of how does the government operate to keep people safe in the face of a natural disaster. I thought it worked really well on that level, and it just looked cool. Recently watched Godzilla for the first time, just talked about it and liked it. Also watched Shin Godzilla, but I'm not sure if I liked, despite many fans liking it. I loved it. It just worked for me. I was invested. I was totally plugged in. Let's see. Surprise live stream on my night off. Let me grab my inks and join you. Please do. That would be awesome. 332 to 354. Oh, yeah. That was the era where Red Skull cloned himself in Steve Rogers, like gave himself a body that was cloned off of Steve Rogers, right? And ended issue 350, I believe, was the one where they went to blows as like basically equal Captain Americas, right? Or am I confusing that? Okay. John Walker is Cap. Okay. So just after Steve Rogers being the captain? Quebec City, awesome. Oh, thank you for watching my Darrow video. I really like Jeff Darrow a lot. He's an incredible creator, very unique. Finished watching your rat sunrise video. Thank you for watching. That's nice of you. It was so fun to watch. A giant rat kaiju is what I'm thinking about now. I've got some other stuff I'm going to put together and edit from my trip to Japan, kind of like that, like some vlogs, just travel vlogs. I'll be honest, if I was ever able to, in my later years, sort of just become some sort of a travel vlogger or something like that, once my time as a super youthful comic book commentator ends, that would make me super happy. I would love to just, because I love traveling. I really do. The only thing that makes it tricky in any sense is I don't feel that I'm the most adventurous eater. I try to, when I'm visiting a new place, I try to at least force myself to try the local cuisine, and I do try to, but there's a bunch of things that I just don't love. I don't love mayonnaise or eggs by themselves. They're okay as an ingredient, but I don't love most seafood. I did have a little bit when I was on my recent trip to Japan, and I feel like I know I'm sort of missing out on what makes different parts of the world special. I do know that, but I can't help it that I try these things and I'm like, I don't like it. And it makes me feel like I'm missing out on something. But anyway. Oh man, so excited for Godzilla Minus Zero. It looks legit like one of the scarier Godzilla movies. They've got a lot of shots of close-ups of people in really terrifying situations. I will do my best. Yes, I did play Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and I thought it was a great game. I really liked it. I have actually, I didn't even think I'd have this kind of free time. It kind of also shows that this is not the longest game. I 100%ed it. But I also sort of sat down and really focused on it hardcore a little bit, and I was still able to get my episodes out on time. So I feel like I earned a little bit of a breather there to do something fun. I do love video games. I don't play a lot of them because I want to get comic tropes out in a reasonable amount of time. 350 was the return of the original Red Skull after he killed 1950s communist Red Skull. Thank you. It's been a long time. Basically, when it first came out was when I last read that, but I do like that. Chrissy's voice briefly pops in. Kieran Dwyer, in my opinion, is a very underrated artist. Very, very good. I think that his Captain America run was some of his best. Some of those covers are fantastic. They remind me of like Indiana Jones style adventure. The Bloodstone Hunt, that was good. Someone needs to go to those places and expose their comics culture like the comic tropes you did of that Indian superhero. There's so many amazing comic books throughout the world. and sometimes I can get some of them, but I can't always read them. The trick is getting certain things from different countries translated. Like I have some knockoff Russian Ninja Turtles picture book things. They're not quite comic books. They're more like written stories, but like every several pages has full illustrations. I would love to be able to translate that, but so far, I haven't had time to find someone that can help me with Russian. I've seen some interesting Vietnamese comics. In Vietnam, for instance, what character was really popular as a comic? He's called Hero Hessman, as in hero, he's a man. And what it is it's Voltron, but in the comics from Vietnam, he's a sentient robot, and he's called Hero Hessman. It looks the same as classic Voltron. I think that would be an interesting one to translate if I could also get the perspective of somebody that's lived or is really from, I should say, Vietnam to sort of help explain to me that any cultural significances there. These are examples of things that I find and I want to do. There's some Filipino comics from the 80s that were, not official, but adaptations of Rambo, continuing the adventures of Rambo. I would love to get a hold of those. It's not super hard for me to find bande dessinée from Belgium and France, Spanish comics, Italian comics, British comics, South Korean, Japanese, Chinese. These are all things that aren't that hard to get. But there's some in other languages that are a little more difficult to get a hold of and translate. A little difficult. Oh, yeah. John Byrne was, just to be clear, briefly Kieran Dwyer's stepfather. And Kieran was already like 13 or 14 when John Byrne became his stepfather. I don't think they're super close, but yeah. But I think that also John Byrne did help Kieran Dwyer get some early work in comics, if I remember right. I have not played Shredder's Revenge. My wife did get it for me, but that just speaks to how busy I am. I haven't had time to try that one. Oh, cool. I didn't know they added Usagi Yojimbo. That's really cool. So, anyway, we'll see. Someday maybe I can give folks a look at some more foreign comics that don't always get lots of, what would you call it, lots of attention worldwide. I think that would be very interesting to me anyway. And usually the more passionate I am about a topic, I'll usually find someone else that finds it interesting too. That's the way I do my show, is I just go like, if I find it interesting and I do my best at it, probably someone else will find it interesting too. Because if I try to just guess at what's popular or interesting, you're never going to get it right. You're always going to be like slow or just guess wrong. Whoa, a super chat. That's awesome. Thank you, Hulkzilla. Yes, happy Godzilla Day to you. Thank you for joining us. That's awesome. I have never posted on John Byrne's comic forum. No, that place looks a little toxic to me, to be honest. You seem to have to, I've read stuff on it, and you seem to have to toe the line of like, Byrne is great. Growing up, I definitely loved a lot of John Byrne stuff. And at a certain point, I stopped loving some of his work, like basically somewhere around the mid 90s. And I can see some of the flaws in even like his earlier classic period. But I like his writing and I like his art, but I'm not like, willing to just sort of praise him, praise him. I'm going to switch, I think, for the facial details to a technical pen, so bear with me there. Anybody have fun plans for the weekend? I always work every weekend, so there's really nothing that I have to talk about, but I'll live vicariously through you if anybody's doing anything fun. Just another weekend. I don't know his Babe series. That's interesting. I thought I was pretty familiar with John Byrne's career, but Babe doesn't ring a bell immediately. Going to the comic shop, that's always fun. Agreed. Let's see. Delaware Water Gap. What's the Delaware Water Gap? Is that like a river or something like that? Sorry, I just haven't heard of that one. I'm not as familiar with those. No, the Ellis Forum and Bendis's Forum, I haven't been to those. I don't tend to go, I guess, now that I think of it, to creators forums. I don't know. Running errands, gonna have to watch later. Okay, thank you for dropping by, and thank you for the super chat. Alan Wake 2. Is that one that just came out? Almost to the weekend. You can do it. Just tough it out. Just a little bit longer. I have faith in you, folks. You can all make it. Everyone's watching to see what you will do. Everyone's watching. It's true. I don't even know if those are the lyrics. But everybody's working for the weekend, yes? Darn, got a little bit of a tangent there. On the art, I mean, not talking. Tangents while talking are fine. Sometimes that leads to some of the best conversation. Oh well. Well, no matter what, I hope you all have either a productive or relaxing weekend. We've all earned it, yes? Lover boy. Let's see. Delaware River cuts a mountain ridge in half. The Delaware Water Gap. Got it. Yes, I need to catch up. I need to watch Invincible, and I'm something like 3 or 4 episodes behind on Gen V if I can get some free time. Yeah, no, not a humongous fan of John Byrne's photo comics for Star Trek. Interesting idea to experiment, go with the sort of Italian fumetti style, but didn't work for me. I did see some of it, and I was like, this doesn't work for me. I don't know, it lacks a certain energy or emotion or something. Flag football, good. Little nephew's got a birthday party. Working on myself. Good for you. That sounds super positive. Scavenger's Reign is a wild ride on Max. Oh, okay. So that's a movie or a TV show? Noted. You saw Loverboy in concert? Fun. That's fun. John did Babe for Dark Horse 1994. I'll be honest. That's definitely the era where I was starting to phase out of reading a lot of John Byrne stuff. I never really got too into Next Men. Wasn't that his sort of superhero create-owned title at Dark Horse? Next Men? It's Next something. I think it's Next Men. I'm doubting myself. Gigan. What a goofball. That's who I'm drawing right now. Gigan and Megalon. Just the idea of these like sort of upright bipedal monsters that don't have hands. You know, having knives for hands doesn't sound convenient to me. It didn't seem like it was that convenient for Edward Scissorhands. It was Next Men, thanks. Started the Justice League cartoon from the 2000s. You know, I've never really seen that. I mean, I've seen probably like an episode or two, so I mean, I know what it looks like and sounds like, but I've just never had the time to really watch it. Secret live stream, kind of, yeah, didn't really promote it. Just sort of decided to do it on an impulse. Next Men. Oh, we did a second series at IDW? I didn't even know about that. 2D sci-fi animated series, Scavenger's Reign. Crash ship of survivors on the strangest world possible. Okay. Thanks. Thanks for the recommend. Heading off. Good luck with the rest of the drawing. Thanks for dropping in. Son of Godzilla was on today. I think it's one of the Pluto TV stations is having a huge marathon. It might even be hosted by John Carpenter. That's like in the back of my memory that might be a thing that's happening right now. I don't know off the top of my head if that's right. But it sounds right to my head, which is where I keep most of my information. It's fun to draw characters that like have just sort of weird biology and goopy textures. You can just kind of take quite a while to go nuts on things in it, and it won't necessarily look wrong because it's all made up. It's fun. Tubi is a good source for horror movies. I've heard that. I've heard that. Best Friday ever. Live stream and end of the work week. Right? Right? Pluto has 24-hour Godzilla channel. That is so fun. That is so fun. Everything's made up and the points don't matter. Oh, that's that show at midnight, right? Wasn't it? I had something featured on that show once. Let me think for a minute. Am I remembering right that that's the phrase from At Midnight, hosted by Chris Hardwick? What was it? Let me think. Yes. Okay. Back in the day, I used to run a sort of a nerd blog that would have several articles posted a day. You know, it could be reviews of horror movies or a video about, you know, toy news or whatever. And I did an article on knockoff Transformer toys. And the image, an image that I used in the article, which had our blog name on it, was used on At Midnight for people to like sort of make jokes about or something. And that got like the blog a good amount of attention. Not as much attention as when I did a comic strip for the for that site for a couple years. Actually, I would just draw it whenever I had a good idea. It was called Star Trek Problems, and I'd just be poking gentle fun at something that I like, Star Trek. And one day it got shared on Reddit and the site crashed because we got just too much traffic all at once. And boy, was there a long tail follow-up to that. That was fun. That was fun to have some of my art noticed, but that's fun. Oh, it's from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Oh, geez. So I went on a tangent that didn't even matter. I'm sorry, everybody. I totally got it wrong. No Titanosaurus, Megaguirus, Monster X, Baragon, Kumanga, Kamakurus, the praying mantis one. All right, let me think. Let me name as many Godzilla monsters as I can think of. But hold on, let me just acknowledge this. Thank you so much, Finn Jackson. That's so nice of you. Just wanted to say thank you for always so much great effort into your videos. It's been a hard couple of months for me, but love seeing your videos. I'm sorry you've had a tough couple of months. If the videos can distract you in any way, that makes me very happy. Yeah, times are tough for many of us. I know what that's like. My sincere sympathies. Means a lot that you were watching it. Thank you. I did go on a tangent. So let me think for a minute. Okay, so we've got Godzilla. We've got Zilla, the American Godzilla. We've got Godzilla Jr. and we've got Manila. We've got Space Godzilla, Destoroyah, Rodan, Fire Rodan, and Burning Godzilla, if you want to count those as different. Mothra, Batra, the evil Mothra, Ghidorah, Mecha Godzilla, Mecha Ghidorah, Monster X, Muto, the Muto, Baragon, Hedorah, Ebera, the lobster from the deep, Biollante, Titanosaurus, Manda, Kamakurus, Kumanga, probably about like 4 or 5 that I'm forgetting. There's Anguirus and Megaguirus. I'm blanking on any more. Destroyer was from Boston? Geez, I saw that like within the last year, and I totally don't remember that for some reason. You would think I would, because that's like the area that I'm from originally. Spiga was the giant tarantula? In Godzilla movies? I thought it was Kumanga. Anyway, I love the movies. My heart would always sink when Godzuki appeared on the cartoon show. Yeah. Let's see. Godzuki and Manila are not awesome. Not everything from Godzilla is great. You know, the late 60s into the 70s, the end of the Showa period is pretty weird. Pretty weird stuff. I'm trying to remember whether this guy that I'm drawing, Gigan, was technically a robot or just an organic monster. I can't remember. You know, sometimes you're just born with knives for hands. We've all been there. Spiga was another giant tarantula. I trust you. It just wasn't coming to me. That's awesome. I have Kaiju Max, and you know what? Now that you say that, I think I set it aside and didn't read it. Because I like Xander Cannon, and I like the idea of Kaiju. A Kaiju prison sounds great. I think I forgot to read it. Whoops. I saw model kits for Kamen Rider and another for the bikes, which with absolutely immaculate detail. I've never seen Kamen Rider, but they're cool as hell. One decent, easy way to get into understanding the Kamen Rider story would be there was a recent movie called Shin Kamen Rider. which basically just is sort of a modern movie version of the first season of Kamen Rider, more or less. Somebody can correct me if they think that I'm not quite right on that, but that was my take on it. I'm not a huge expert on everything Japanese with giant monsters. Godzilla is definitely the one that I like the most, but I want to learn more about Ultraman. Ultraman strikes me as something that like could be up my alley. We'll see. I need to see more of it. I've only been exposed to a small amount of Ultraman. The Anno film, yes. I did not know that he did a Cutie Honey film. Really? Like, as in a live action adaptation of the Go Nagai character? Huh. He's just making his way through all the classic sort of sci-fi in Japan, huh? Interesting. Huh. Cutie Honey movie. Sorry, that one just surprised me a little. I didn't know that Cutie Honey was necessarily still popular. You know, I know I just had a decent sized trip to Japan, and so I should be okay. But I really find myself missing it already. Um, I, there's so many places in the world I'd love to visit that look amazing, and yet I'd really love to go back to Japan again. Again, I don't get tired of it. I don't know. I'm almost mad at myself. Like, no, you get excited for another part of the world, you dum dum. I just like it there a lot. Maybe I should live there for a little while and just sort of get it out of my system. It'd also be a good base of operations if I lived there and wanted to explore, a lot of the rest of Asia or Australia and stuff like that. That could be interesting. We'll see. I've never seen Evangelion. I've never seen that one. So yeah, kind of big nerd gap in my knowledge. Hold on. The camera I'm using, the battery, the plug came out, so I'm just adjusting. There we go. It should be okay now. Regal Cinemas are playing Godzilla 2000 at their theaters right now. Ooh, I'll look and see. Maybe I'll go see that tonight. That would be a fun way to celebrate Godzilla Day. All right, I'm going to switch over and draw some more of Jet Jaguar here. Jet Jaguar, Jet Jaguar. To my knowledge, there's no other characters from Godzilla that have their own song like Jet Jaguar does. I mean, I know they'll all have their own musical theme, but Jet Jaguar has an actual song. That's kind of badass. I could sell Toyotas in Japan. Unfortunately, my Japanese is not quite good enough to do that, but that would be interesting. You can watch NG series or the films, both great, but if you watch both, make sure to do series then films. I can't imagine it working films first. You're talking Evangelion there, I think, right? Daimajin? I don't know that one. Maybe somebody else out there does. Agree about that order for watching Evangelion. Okay, yes. So I had that right. Okay. Series, then films. Got it. Yeah, I mean, of course, being somewhat plugged into nerd culture, I've heard of Evangelion. Um, Primarily good things. People say it is a little bit of a depressing end, um, but that that's just what it is. It is something I keep meaning to check off someday, so I have every intention to see it at some point. Hopefully that comes true. What else is getting asked? There's a kaiju themed rap album, Take Me to Your Leader by King Ghidorah. Yes, I have heard that. No, I didn't lose my glasses. At the beginning, I explained I took them off because these are for distance. And usually when I'm drawing, like I could wear them, but I don't need to. And I actually can see what's right in front of me a little better if I draw without them on. So, yeah, I just took them off to draw. The most miserable thing to ever be so intensely marketed. Okay, isn't as depressing as Berserk or some Go Nagai stuff. Well, and I like some of that, so I'm okay with that. I don't need everything to be happy endings, as long as there's creative intent and something real about it. I am okay with sad or depressing or bleak stuff. I am not all the time, but yeah. Daimajin was a 1966 trilogy of giant stone demon in feudal Japan. He was also in the Great Yokai War Guardians 2021. Giant stone demon in feudal Japan sounds pretty cool, actually. So thank you for the heads up on that one. That sounds great. I was watching Shin Kamen Rider earlier today. We'll finish it later, and I liked what I saw. There's also Shin Ultraman that Ano wrote. I liked it for me, like of those Shin films that Ano worked on, Shin Godzilla is definitely my favorite. I really liked Shin Ultraman. Shin Kamen Rider didn't connect with me in a huge way. I didn't dislike it, but I don't think Kamen Rider's my big nerd thing. That's all. But I did really like uh, the Shin Ultraman movie. I felt like that was pretty cool. What what shows are you all watching these days? I'm watching Loki, Gen V, uh, Loki, Gen V, and what? I feel like there was one other that I was watching. Well, I guess I will watch Invincible. You know what I'm watching? This isn't that like nerd culture stuff, but I like it, so I'm gonna mention it. I tried the new Frasier show on Paramount Plus, and I feel like it's really funny. It works for me. I guess it depends on how much you like the character and how much you like sort of pun type jokes, like clever wordplay, because they do have a fair amount of that. But it works very well for me. It really does feel uh, like it's the same character and world from Cheers and the original Frasier run. It's new supporting characters and stuff, but it really works well. It's another stage in Frasier's life, and I like it. I like it. Yeah, I saw the trailer for Fall Guy. Could be fun. I watched that show when I was younger. Have I read any of the Andrew McLean Godzilla War for Humanity? No, any good? Always looking for a recommendation. It's ongoing. Okay. Okay. Good to know. Well, thank you for watching my show. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, it's like 5 episodes in. It's on Paramount Plus. Frasier, basically, it says that after he finished his radio show, which was like sort of the final episode of his 90s show, he went to Chicago for like 16 years and had a TV show there, sort of a Dr. Phil type show. And now he's retired from that, and he wants to be a little bit more serious and connect with his son, Freddie, a bit more. So he's returned to Boston. He got a job teaching at Harvard. Oh, no. Hold on. Hold on. I'll fix this. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, Frasier teaches in Boston, and he's bought a nice place there, and he lives with his son, who's a firefighter. And, also his nephew, Niles and Daphne's kid, is going to Harvard, and he's super perky and friendly like Daphne, but definitely nerdy like his dad's, and that's a pretty good contrast too. I did go ahead and watch Matt's video of Robert Kirkman. It was not a bad video, but it wasn't 100% accurate. But then again, I know Robert, right? So I know that I'm probably a little more plugged into Robert's life and work history than some people. And so I have to take that with a grain of salt and just go like, get over it. Because I probably make little mistakes too in my videos because I don't always know the people, and I'm trusting a source that I read that might not be 100% accurate. I'm just moving some cords around so that I can get a camera back on my art. Sorry that I let that one die. It was also very just sort of like, I don't know. It was fine. It was fine. I very much am curious how that guy is getting millions of views on such a new channel. I don't quite understand that. I admit that they're well edited, but I don't know why they're getting millions of views. Like, it feels like I'm missing something, but I don't know what. All right, let's see if this camera will work. Probably. I just need to do some edits to it. Camera settings. Tricky. Bear with me. Didn't expect my camera to die, so I'm trying to rejigger my setup. Very unprofessional, I know, but that's what happens when you didn't plan out doing a live stream. If I add this, I just need to get a better angle on everything. It's more like a continuation, just with a gap. Matt did link to your interview in the video description. Oh, interesting. Oh, I totally didn't pick up on that. Yeah, like Destoroyah, bud. Got it. He signed a pact with Mephisto. That might be. Okay, so this is upside down for what we need. What if I adjusted the camera to be more like, would need to be about here, wouldn't it? Be about there. What do I have that I can clip this to? Or do I just hold it while I draw? Well, then I've got this in your way. Hold on. Sorry, someone was calling on the phone, and then that changed. Jesus, this is unprofessional. You guys are so nice to put up with this. This is going to kill my views on this. Could I do it like this? I guess I could do it like this. It's a little weird. It doesn't, it shows up as very gray on this particular camera. It's not that gray in person. So I guess just the resolution on this isn't as good. Whoops, that's not what I meant. No mistakes, just happy accidents. His latest video on Junji Ito hasn't blown up as like his previous ones. Might be because the title and thumbnail wasn't as clickbaity. I don't know. It's getting cold over here. It's getting cold. What do I have to set this camera up on? Because it needs to sort of be screwed in, I think. And do I have even a screw on this? I think I do. If I could clip it there. Ha! Okay. It just moves everything. That's funny. Yikes. This is killing my show. Oh no, I'm sorry, folks. What do I have that would work as a clip? Bear with me a moment. Bear with me. I don't mean that conspiratorially or anything, just that he's probably found a YouTube vein to mine. Oh, that many views is likely playing to the algorithm cleverly behind the scenes. I guess so. Yeah. You know, there are professional editors and agencies that have offered to work with me to get like a better looking show. But there's a trick when you're doing a show where you have to edit comic book stuff. It's like if I gather all those images, that's the only real work for editing it. And it feels like, and then I'm going to just like, if somebody else was able to edit and also knew where to look and gather those images, awesome. But that's not really what happens generally. I'm trying to look for a way that I could sort of clip this together. And I've got a small idea that's crazy, but let's just see. I wonder if I can tie it to this. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try something. You know what I'll do? I'm going to temporarily take this away so that you don't have to see that. And just bear with me as I'm set. Let's see. Yeah. So what did you miss? You missed me getting the camera properly charged. So my main camera that was showing the art that I'm drawing has died, and I'm jury rigging something with a webcam to see if that will work. It's a little bonkers probably, but whatever. It's kind of funny that this is what the show has become. Yes, this is the MacGyver segment. Just trying to tie this tight. And I'm using not string or cord or anything. I'm using a charging cable. So your MacGyver analysis is not completely wrong, to be honest. And what I might be able to do with that is, instead of like firmly attaching it to something, I might just have it hang. I might literally have it hang over my art, but we're going to see if that works. Needs to be right about there. This is so silly. It probably won't work, but I'll give it a shot at this point. I'll give it a shot. And you're just going to have to deal with the fact, if you want to watch this, that I'm going to have... no, that's not going to work very well. Yeah, I'm just going to have cords dangling in front of me if I can even get this to work. We'll see. It might work. It might work. This is, you don't get to see this on Daniel Warren Johnson's live streams. All right, and tuck that in. And is this going to work? I'm about to turn the camera on for you folks, and you tell me if I've got something that works. It needs to tilt like that. All right, not perfect, but at least I got the show still going, right? Sorry that I've got like cords now draped in front of me, but we can keep going. We can keep going. I'm very amused that I've just done, like, this is just so silly. There's also a possibility, to be clear, that this could all fall at some point. I really don't have full confidence in this. Proof that my streams are not scripted, 100%. Did I get that Pat's cap you sent me? Did you send me a Pat's cap? I haven't been to the P.O. box in a little bit, if you're serious about that. That would be exciting. Oh my goodness, the Pats are so bad this year, but that kind of makes me love them more. We don't see any cords. A little though you do, right? Like right here, you see like a little bit. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. I'm very amused, folks, that like I've just sort of tied. It's just too silly. It's too silly to even describe. It's. If you're serious, Steve, then thank you. But no matter what, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the support very, very much. Hope you're doing well. You know what? I need to use a slightly thicker pen than this. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I don't know exactly what this symbol on Jaguar is supposed to be, but it's definitely on there, so gotta be accurate. Deadly serious. And if all of your stuff falls, which I hope it doesn't because that's expensive, but it'd be like a moment like 20-plus-year-old gum. Oh, yeah, the time that I ate the gum. What was that? That was probably from like 1989. And if I'm eating it today, that's more than 20 years. That's like 30-year-old gum. I wear all my teams like Steelers and the Mets and other teams when they're doing horrible. That just means you're a true fan. I agree. Thank you for the super chat, Steve. That's really, really kind of you. I'm excited. I will go to my P.O. box ASAP. Wow. Just so you know, folks, I would never ask you to send gifts or anything. That it's super kind of Steve to have done that, and I'm of course going to be grateful, but I would never ask you to go out of your way or just spend money on me. I promise. It's that's kind. I would never ask it. All right, we got Gigan starting to take shape now. We got him starting to take shape, but we need to get a little bit more definition inking wise to this Jaguar. So that's what I'll focus on. Hey, Chuck. This is my friend Chuck, CK, and you can find this name here on Twitch. And Chuck is about to do something he does every year where he live streams for, I believe, 24 hours straight to raise money for a children's hospital. So if you want to, and Chuck's a better artist than me, by the way, folks, just to be clear. So he'll draw, he'll probably play some games and stuff, do some funny stuff. So if you're curious, look this name up on Twitch. And he does a live stream very soon for Children's Hospital. Like, they can't beat that. No worries. Hey, you're doing something good for people. So that's nice. Yeah, happy to tell, by the way, the 30 people that are watching now, but this will probably get watched a little bit once I archive it too. You can't go wrong with a buzzsaw in your chest. Yeah, sorry that it's so low. Obviously, I'm having a little trouble centering everything after this jury-rigged segment. But I think we're going to be able to get a good episode out of this, I think. I'm happy with how things are going. Have I ever read Alan Moore and Jason Burroughs' Providence? No. They made New England seem like a creepy place. There is a certain creepiness to New England because it's as far as America goes, it's old. You know, it's old. And we get like an autumn that's very much it's a distinct autumn. You know, like the trees really start to look decrepit and old, and like they reach out to you with tendrils. It's yeah, there is something a little bit creepy about it, and it doesn't hurt that, you know, writers like Lovecraft and Stephen King are from there and set their stories in New England. So it gets like, you know, a bit of a mythology. You know, you've got stories like Sleepy Hollow set there. So there's something a little creepy about New England. I'm drawing a bunch of people and characters as wrestlers and then putting them into WWE 2K23 to fight it out. Winner gets a poster and entry to next year's tourney. That's fun. Okay, got it. So somebody says like, this is my character, or just this is me as a person. You'll design them, like probably do a sketch or something, you're saying, like at least for yourself, and then create a wrestler in WWE 2K23. By the way, you know what? I used to love some of those wrestling games. I haven't played any in years. Is the latest one good? Is it fun? Does it work properly? Because if I'm remembering right, they did have like an era where for a couple years the games weren't fantastic. They were kind of glitchy and stuff. I mean, I remember watching some YouTube videos of some horrendous looking glitches that looked game breaking, but maybe they've gotten better, because I definitely went through an era where you don't even have to be into the whole wrestling scene to really enjoy playing the wrestling video games, as long as they work properly. I found out recently that I have over 2,000 hours in WWE 2K19. Well, congratulations, Semrix. I wouldn't want to go up against you. Sounds like you've got the skills. It's okay now. It's got a super in-depth creator, so you can really go wild. That was some of the most fun stuff that you can create. Not just a complete look, but the way they walk, their taunts, their entrance, and of course their move list. That stuff is crazy. I still love Nintendo's pro wrestling game from the 80s, especially playing as Starman. Never played that. That was sort of... I didn't have a Nintendo growing up, actually. Yeah, I didn't have cable. I didn't have a Nintendo. So that may have helped create a bit of an extra impulse to get into like nerdy stuff, just not having it as a kid and feeling like I was, you know, potentially missing out. Whether that's true or not doesn't matter. As a kid, it felt true. And I don't know when I'm going to have time to do this, Chuck, but I did find you a pair of socks in Japan that I thought you'd like. I was just at like a sort of luxury clothing place, and they had Queen socks. And I know you love Freddie Mercury, so I picked them up. Whoa, Steve, thank you. I bought a Patriots hat for a coworker, and then they sent me 2. So, free hat for you. I live in upstate New York. It's pretty much Bills Mafia country here. I would expect it to be. Who else would you guys even like theoretically root for up there as far as a local team? I mean, like the closest after that is either going west and you hit stuff like Detroit and Chicago, or you go a little further south and you get the Giants and the Jets. Who wants to be a Jets fan? You love Sox Dad Life. Hello, Spike Punkos. Thanks for jumping in. Queen was huge in Japan. You know, it's a lot of American rock bands from like the 80s are still huge in Japan. There's all everywhere I went, I would see tour posters for, you know, like White Snake and stuff like that. They're just still huge over there. We'll get together sometime, at the very least, ECC. Yeah, that would be great. It's in the new convention center. The new convention center is really nice. Well, maybe you went for PAX or something. I don't know. Eagles, Steelers, maybe a couple Cleveland Browns you might run into. That makes sense. And after that, like probably just more like baseball and basketball popular up there. I almost went to upstate New York for college. I applied and got into Ithaca. Did not choose to go there, but did visit. And I've also been to the Niagara Falls region with an old girlfriend. Just, you know, wanted to see the falls, and that was interesting. Buffalo in that area, not too bad. But boy, getting up there, you go through so much old farmland that is not being used. It's really kind of depressing, to be honest, like how much of New York is empty, unused farm country. Just decrepit old farm buildings falling apart. It's wild how much there is. Rhode Island Comic-Con. Cool. I hope you go. Oh, right. I was saying like how popular American bands are. You're right. Queen is British. So my point was probably more about 70s and 80s bands that are still around that are popular over there, like English speaking. But you're right. I didn't. Yeah, sorry. I wasn't thinking that one through. Thank you, Ashley. Good catch. Good catch. The New Japan Wrestling game is good. Very arcadey retro style. That's cool. I like New Japan Pro Wrestling. They've got some great talent. Jets and Giants are the NFL. College basketball. I live in Syracuse, as you know, and lots of Syracuse Orange basketball. That makes sense. There's a convention local here this weekend, but I'm working, so I'm not going to get to go to it. It's classified as a toy show. Although it does have a lot of comic book vendors that typically go. So it's sort of just, it's a toy show, but it's a pop culture show, you know? It's actually a pretty fun one, but yeah, I gotta work on weekends. That's when people come to buy cars. So, and I set my own schedule. That's when I'm most likely to sell some cars. Sell some of them cars. That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. Araki Sensei does love using 70s and 80s band names as characters in JoJo. And that is definitely a book that's still going strong. What? No, if I tweeted that, that was a joke. I have definitely been to Rhode Island many, many times. Definitely been to Rhode Island. Yeah, I don't know what I would have. I don't remember tweeting that. If I did, it was meant to be a joke, but I don't even remember tweeting that. I've definitely been to Rhode Island. Oh, you know what I would do if I had a wrestling gimmick? And I'm too old now, but here would be my gimmick. I'm kind of a child of the 80s. My gimmick would be I grew up like, when I grew up, but then I went into a coma for many years. And then I got out of it and, like started like rehabbing and got like all fit and got into like, and I became a pro wrestler, but all my points of reference would still be in the 80s. I'd be like a man out of time. And I'd, like dress like I was from the 80s and have like 80s entrance theme music. And my finishing moves would all be based on like, some sort of like classic poses. So, and I just like, it would be a kind of a comedy gimmick. I sort of like have trouble understanding your modern technology. That would be my wrestling gimmick. The lady doth protest too much about visiting Rhode Island. Yeah. It was a map of states you'd been to, and I remember you didn't fill in Rhode Island. Oh, well, if I did, then that was a mistake. That would have been a mistake. I've definitely been to Rhode Island. Been to Providence mostly, but I've been to Rhode Island lots. It's not far at all from where I grew up. So definitely visited it for all sorts of reasons over the years, just to be clear. I like Providence. Providence is a nice city. It's got some good restaurants. It's got a beautiful, beautiful river that goes through the city that the city, I think, takes pretty good care of in terms of keeping it like decorated and organized, and has like themed holiday and historical cultural type events centered around that river. It's really nice. Now the city has a lot of organized crime, if you didn't know, so it can be a somewhat corrupt city, but it doesn't feel like an unsafe city, if that makes sense. Yeah, I like Providence. Is it this weekend? Ay. Thank you. Thanks for the heads up. I'll double check. 1980s Captain America. Maybe a little. I've definitely been to Vermont too. Yeah, anything New England. It'd probably at this point I'd have an easier time just ticking off the few states that I haven't been to. There's probably like about somewhere between 15 and 18 states I haven't been to. I haven't had an excuse to go up to Alaska. I don't know what I'd do in like North or South Dakota. I haven't been there. What else? Some of the Midwest. And whenever they have those things, I don't count like just using it. Like if I drove through it, or and used like a what do you call it, a rest stop or stop there at an airport, I don't count that as visiting the place. But I should get going because I do have a lot of stuff that I still need to do for Comic Tropes. Sorry that I didn't finish this whole piece. I'm going to do a little bit more. I'll do an outline of the characters as well as Jaguar's face, and then I'll call it a live stream once I've done the outlines in his face, just so that like we can all get a sense of where I was going with this nonsense. I appreciate you all jumping in and watching the show. It means a lot to me. I had fun. I love Godzilla. Clock change is always the first weekend after Halloween. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like Maine. I've been to Maine many times. Now, anything New England, I've definitely been to. Anything along the entire East Coast, I've been to. And then going in a ways, anything coastal, I've been to. Yeah. There's just a few Midwestern and northern Midwestern states that I haven't been to. I'd like to visit everywhere in the country, get a sense of what the differences are. I think that that would be really interesting. I like traveling in general, so that's definitely some stuff I'd love to do. If I haven't been to your particular state, it is definitely not because of a lack of interest. I will say that. Where do you want to travel that you haven't been able to hit yet? I have no idea what's for dinner. That is a good question. I do not know. Lobster rolls, I would say primarily Maine, but New Hampshire definitely does a lot of that too. So does Massachusetts. Yeah. Becomes crab rolls by the time you get down to Maryland, but otherwise lobster rolls, Massachusetts and above. Iceland, Japan, sure, they probably do it too. Have I been to the Maritimes in Canada? The Maritimes? I don't think so. That doesn't ring a bell. Can't think of it. Oh, these were places you'd like to visit. Got it. Oregon, Iceland, Japan, Alaska. Yeah, that's the area I wouldn't say I live where they shot Twin Peaks, but it's like a 30-minute drive to like most of the shooting locations there, and it's cool. Chrissy and I actually are going to get a few more of those factor meals. So again, if you want to go to the Osamu Tezuka episode that I made on comic tropes, there is a link there where you can get 50% off your first box, however many meals you want to get. 50% off. I think that's a pretty decent starting price. And I sincerely like them. Chrissy and I are going to order more. I liked it a lot. And yeah, healthy, I think affordable. No. Who doesn't like Connecticut? That's where all of the rich people in the world live. With a great big grimace and a terrible sound, he pulls the spitting high-tension wires down. Helpless people on subway trains scream, "My God," while he looks in on them. Oh no, they say he's got to go. Oh, oh, Godzilla. Yeah. Oh no, there goes Tokyo. Oh, oh, Godzilla. Ooh. Shane, lovely to have you drop by. Thank you. Just having some fun. It's Godzilla Day, so I got to draw some stuff from Godzilla. Indie Creator Con in Connecticut, March 9th. That sounds fun. Chrissy does tend to cook a good amount, and she's quite a good cook. I'm very lucky in that regard. I'm aware of how lucky I am. I'm aware. Have I been to Nashwan Island, Martha's Vineyard, or Nantucket? I've been to Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket, not Nashwan Island. I like the bold outline. Thank you. That's nice of you. Well, once this is done, my recommendation is that you all go over to Pluto TV since it's free and start watching some 24/7 Godzilla. It's Godzilla Day. You got to celebrate. We got to give respect to the big G. You know, he's the reason for the season. As I believe every religion agrees. That's the one thing every organized religion in the world agrees on, is that Godzilla is the reason for Godzilla season. I still have not seen Bodies. A lot of people have been telling me that that's a really good show. Since it's a comic book adaptation, I am curious. No, I do not. I cut out all sugar and carbs out of my diet more than a couple years ago now, because I was drinking too much of it and I became diabetic, and I regret that so much. I enjoyed the caffeine jolt. I liked how Mountain Dew tasted. I was drinking way too much of it. A sincere regret, but I had cut that out. Now, I do still sometimes have caffeine these days, but what I do is it's just coffee, no sugar or anything like that anymore. Yes, Gojira Day. I'm having the hardest time keeping this centered. What are your top 3 fave Godzilla movies? Fair. Original Godzilla from 54, Shin Godzilla, the most recent one, and well, technically the last most recent one for Japanese ones, since today in Japan, Godzilla Minus Zero came out. So Godzilla, Shin Godzilla, and Godzilla Final Wars. If I'm going to have to just limit it to 3, those would be my top 3. Fun thing about that, you don't have to watch any other Godzilla movies to watch any of those 3. They're all pretty self-contained. No, I don't think I'd want crab juice, but Mountain Dew would be bad for me. No, I was too old, so I didn't watch that. I was aware of it, but no, I didn't watch the 98 animated series. What a top 3. Did I do anything controversial there? Oh, All Monsters Attack is a blast. Absolutely. There's a lot of good ones in the Showa, Heisei, and Millennium era. There's a lot that I could talk about for Godzilla, but I was asked the top 3. I'm pretty sure that that just is my top 3. I feel really confident about that top 3 for me. I'd hear out anybody else's arguments, but for me, yeah, that would be the top 3. What a weird head design they gave Jet Jaguar. It really reminds me of those crystal skulls, you know? It's not fully human. It's an interesting choice. And we are nearing completion. 1, 2, 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I was counting to myself. Yeah, it's true. It's a lot like the Green Goblin mask. Possessed Godzilla, right? That was with Mogera, right? Like the it wasn't, or was it called Kiryu? No, yeah, Kiryu. Kiryu was the possessed Mechagodzilla, right? But it was original Godzilla's body, possessing it. Yeah, that was good. I thought I had missed all of this. No, but my phone camera is about to die, so I do have to wrap it up. Literally have to. But still, I think we got a sense of what I was going for with this. And I had to swap out this camera because the original high-res one died. So this does look a little sort of washed out and muted, I know, but I had fun with this and talking with all of you. I'll do a little bit here, but we are almost done, and most of that is because my camera is literally about to die. I won't be able to continue. So let me just finish these sort of wings. I won't be able to do the whole tail or all the detail on these characters, but I think we got a sense of what I was going for Godzilla Day here. Yeah. I think that'll do it, folks. I wanted to do a little bit more, but I had fun chatting with everybody. This was a blast. Go watch some Godzilla. I'm going to get to work on comic tropes. I don't think I'll have that ready this weekend, just to be clear, but I've got one that went up just 2 days ago, so that's fairly recent, and I'm going to be editing some stuff for this channel, some Japanese travel vlogs. So I'm going to take off. I hiccuped, sorry. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a lot of fun. I will see you very, very soon. Until then, you know your marching orders by now. Keep reading comics. Bye, everyone. Take care. Don't get stomped on.